right, good afternoon. The Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis Facebook group. We have another Flyte Tyme interview session. And before I introduce our guests, I want to say, well, ask a question. What do you get when you cross a dynamic vocalist who started singing in church at the age of 5, only later to land on audition with super producers, the one and only Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, which led to her solo project, their Perspective Records label, and an accidental songwriter producer that unknowingly auditioned and got her start in music by standing on folding tables in a garage with Force MDs in Pennsylvania. And they worked and wrote some with other musicians in the Flyte Tyme camp like Ann Nesby, Johnny Gill, the late Big Jim Wright, Stokely from Mint Condition, and solo. Allow me the pleasure to introduce to you Raja-Nee, or Raja, and Vanesa, or Vanesa Powers, to the Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis Facebook group and the Flytetyme Innerview. Thank you very much. Thanks, ladies, for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much.
Figo.
So, yes, J4. So, ladies, thank you so much, as J4 said. And first of all, thank you, Gate. And how are you all doing? So we start with Raja. How have you been keeping up, knowing what's happening with the current situation that's happening, not just in the States, but now moving across the world? And then, of course, with the COVID as well.
I'm good. I have no complaints. I am a homebody by nature, so being locked in my house is absolutely wonderful for me. I loved it. As long as I have Facebook, I'm good.
Sweet.
And what about you, Ness?
I'm not so much a homebody, but because I live in the mountains, I'm pretty good. The air is fresh up here. I got room to spread my wings and kind of stay safe, so I'm okay.
Nice.
Oh, that's great. That's great. It's fantastic. So one of the things we wanted to ask you were, what have you been doing all this time, since the days of Flyte Tyme?
Are you asking me or Raja?
Both of you. So I'll start. Go ahead, Ness. I'll let you start.
Okay. Well, I've been pretty busy. I'm still creative. I'm still artistic. I do have a daily job just to stay on top of the bills, but for the most part, yeah, I still write. Always have written. I draw, and now I'm working with other artists and also starting a new project with Raja. So I'm very, very excited.
Oh, that's great. Okay, and what about you, Raja?
Yeah, my plate is always full because I write and produce. I have a gospel group that I work with. They're called In His Name. I work with them. I am also working on a new project, and I just got signed by Moontown Records, Mr. Herb Middleton. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Has picked as an artist. So my fans have been waiting on the Sovereign of 14742, my CD, to come out. But now it's gonna still be a little bit delayed because when you got Herb Middleton on a project, it's he's got to do his. So yeah, we just finished a couple of singles, so it's looking pretty good.
Sweet.
Great.
All right. So, Figo, any other questions?
Yeah, how did you two meet? How did you two get to be such good friends?
Go ahead.
And don't hold back.
You can have this one.
Not hold back, okay?
I'm gonna give this one to Ness.
How far back am I going?
The beginning.
Well, to not go to my beginning, I have to start with, if I start with just the Raja part of it, I was given about 100 tracks and from a producer, and he said, listen, write some songs. He said, write a song. I said, I've never written a song. And he says, this is how many bars, this is what a bar is, this is how it goes, blah, blah, blah. So then he sends everybody home. He says, we need to do this. The studio is closing. Come on, let's go. And I said, okay. I go home, I write 2 songs. They shop probably, it's so many songs. They shop all of them. and only one song was taken, and it was the one that Raja took, and it was my very first song that I ever wrote, and she took it. And so, yeah, it was after that we had to go and meet in the studio. So, yeah.
That's where we met. We met for the first time in the studio in New York. And she actually, original version of the song, I was gonna leak it to you guys, but she was like, no, no, no. But on the original version of the song, she's actually rapping on it. I'm still gonna leak it to you all.
Oh, please do. Oh, we can't wait to hear that.
I mean, the original version is and I. It's just all Ness and I on the background vocals. She's singing on everything. So that started our friendship, but we rekindled our relationship a little bit later on at Flytetyme. I went down to do some recording and to do some more work with them, and we stayed in Jam and Lewis's artist apartment, and we were there for like, I don't know, months. I lived with her at the apartment, so we became very close.
Traveled together. We were literally almost like, if we could have been sisters, we would have been by blood if we could have just chose it. So it was amazing to be with her because she was such a light and such an inspiration and such a teacher. Because like I said, I was green. I didn't know very much, but she was one of those artists that respected talent. She respected music. She respected the people that she worked with. She respected herself, and she never fell short on being able to spread what she knew, and to kind of, she just slapped me under her wing, and that was a wrap. It was me and her after that.
Oh, Nessa, you're so sweet.
So how many years has that been?
Yeah, how many years?
Over 20.
About 25.
That's a lifetime. No,
Yeah.
in this day and age, that's a lifetime. If you find, yeah, well done. You know, if you find friendships lasting more than 2 years nowadays or 3 years, you're lucky. 25 years, that's a lifetime.
We were blessed because we were babies when we met. We were very.
I wasn't. She was, but I wasn't.
She was a baby. Don't listen to her. She was a baby.
Let me tell you all something. People don't know that, you know, people always say, oh, you can't get a record deal when you get older, you can't get a deal. Well, I've gotten 2 up in age. I was 33 years old when I got my deal with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Wow. Unheard of in music. You know, so never give up on your dream, never stop believing.
Right.
It could happen. It could happen. They thought I was like in my 20s. They were like, how old are you? I was like, how old do I look? They were like 20, 21. I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah. It could definitely happen because the way that I started, I probably should have been nowhere near Flytetyme, but I was there. I made it, and you know, you sit back and you think about, you know, what your capabilities are as a person, and if you don't block yourself off to learning new lessons, if you don't block yourself off from your own blessings, if you don't block yourself off from the people that can teach you something or anything is possible. Anything at any age. And I'm still gonna say she was a baby. She was a baby. Don't listen to her.
Okay.
You know, you're both right. I'm a firm believer that, you know, age is only a number. Once you got the will, the commitment, the drive to do whatever you have to do, and you're healthy, why not? Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. So now this is a question here from another member of the group, Sandra Nicholson. And both of you might find this interesting. Why do you think there hasn't been any dynamic duo women writing teams? Why is that?
Because we took a break, so we're here now. It's coming.
Right. Like,
whoa!
Tell them that.
It took us a minute. I told you we was young. It took us a minute. We kind of had to, you know, I had to learn it. I wasn't on Raja's level, so now I'm, you know, now I'm up there.
No.
Are you saying that you've surpassed her? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that now I can actually be her partner with confidence.
Nice.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Like that.
I don't want nobody to carry me. I want to be up there and I want to do my part.
I never carried you there.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, I want to be a strong partner just in case she goes, you know, I need to go to sleep today. I go, okay, I got you. She want to be able to say, okay, you go with them. I don't want her to come back and be like, you burned the whole building down. No.
No, not at all. Now, speaking of which, Vanessa, one thing that intrigued me, I saw some of your writing credits for INNERVIEWS and Johnny Gill. Now, those two stand out for me. Now, what was it like? How did that Johnny Gill one come about?
So it was interesting. The producer that was my partner at the time was also my ex-husband. And he always played something. Either he had a guitar in his hand or a piano in his hand, and he would tinker and he would play. And he was a beautiful musician. It was just amazing. Melodically, though, he wasn't as strong melodically. And for some reason, I hummed all the time, even though at the time I didn't sing or do that type of music. And I happened to be sitting in there and he was playing something. And I was like, and I just hummed it. And then he came in and he was like, take me. And we were like, we don't know what else to say after that, but we kept humming.
Right.
And we were just sitting in the living room. And for some reason at that time, I couldn't figure out how to write for a male singer. It just was writing for anybody was foreign, but a male singer was very foreign. And I was like, I don't really know what to say. Like, what's the perspective of a man, to kind of give them, to make him say something believable. So I had to really, and so it took a village. Johnny Gill wrote on it. I think Jimmy and wrote on it. Everybody had to get on there because I was like, can't speak for a man, but I know the feelings of a man. I can emotionally go.
So
Listen.
How did this actually land in Johnny's lap, this particular song?
I don't even know how he got it, to be honest with you, because we were at Flyte Tyme by this time. We were up at Flyte Tyme and had already started it. And, quite often Terry would be like, hey, what do you got? Are y'all working on anything? And, at the time, Joseph, who was the producer, was like,
right.
Yeah, me and us started this. And as we started to play it, they called in Big Jim. So even though Joe was a nice player, he was a beautiful, they called him Big Jim, and it was a wrap. Big Jim came in, and it's also the reason why the song is so long. That whole big beginning of the song.
Yeah, that intro is fantastic.
We watched him play it, and we couldn't imagine. He was like, it's running like 5 minutes. And we was like, you can't take it out. You can't take it out. And I mean, the whole studio came in and watched Big Jim play this part on the song. It was Johnny Gill in the studio, Jimmy Jam, Terry, Parts of Mint Condition, me, everybody was in there. And we was literally like, oh my God, that is beautiful. It was so awesome.
Listen, I got to go into the session when Johnny was recording. So
yes.
I'm sorry, I gotta do this like real weak impression of Johnny Gill. So I was accustomed to, you better come and get it, girl. That's what I was accustomed to, right? So then he's in the booth, right? And he's singing, Take Me, I'm Yours. I promise, I started crying. The man made me cry. I looked at Ness, the most beautifulest song I've ever heard in my entire life. He sang that thing. He did that thing.
He did.
Wow. I have to say that is probably one of our favorite slow tracks at on our station UK246. J4 and I get a lot of requests for that song. So Nessa, we really thank you for writing that song.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Right.
That means a lot.
You're both right. It is an emotional track. I mean, when I started to revisit it and listen to it again, I mean, the harmonies, the string, the melodies. I'm just talking about the intro. I'm not even talking about the lyrics yet.
Yes.
And when you get into the lyrics now, the whole song just takes over. And beautiful song. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. How long did it take to record that song?
It took a minute because Johnny Gill has a signature growl that he normally does. And it's nothing wrong with it. It's just that he kind of, like Raja-Nee demonstrated, it tends to be like, Teddy Pendergrass strong. Take them off.
Yeah.
We don't. This ain't one of those songs. You don't want to take them off. You just you kind of want to more so. You want to you need to Luther it a little bit.
Yeah.
So we had to But being a female, I couldn't write from the perspective of the male, but I can listen from the perspective of the female.
Right.
And I would very often say, Joe, no, take that growl out of there. That's not where he should be doing that. Because he would start early in the song.
Right.
One, because the intro was so long. He's like, okay, now I got to jump in. But no, don't jump in.
Yeah.
You know, a woman needs to kind of.
Gotta finesse it.
Yes, finesse it. Don't growl her into it. You ain't got to bark, you know. You ain't got to do all that. And so he would constantly be like, pull it out. But it didn't take long. Johnny he's a phenomenal.
He's insane.
Yeah,
he is insane.
He is.
I mean, insane. I mean, I was bawling my eyes out.
It didn't.
It was so beautiful.
No, I as I said, I listened to it again, and I was like, you know, nothing happened around me. It was dead quiet, and I was just immersed into the track, you know. And I said, wow, this is a track. Now, the next question that I have, actually, it was my question. What was it like first meeting Jimmy and Terry? What was that about? How did that?
I'm gonna talk, but Ness, please tell this story. Let Ness tell her story first.
No.
Tell it.
So when we submitted the song over to, I met Jimmy and Terry separately. I didn't meet Jimmy until after I got to Minneapolis, up to Flyte Tyme. But we met Terry in New York. Raja had agreed to take the song, and I think Terry wanted to hear it first because Raja was like, I want this. And he invited me and the producer to come over to his office in New York. Now, mind you, I had to sing the demo, and I had never sung before at this time. So I literally, while recording, I said, can't you, all these singers in New York, you can't find somebody to sing this? They're like, no, they don't know how it goes. You have to sing it. I was like, and it was a hard process because I didn't know how to sing on key and all of that stuff. I was literally just learning. And it was never my life dream to be a singer, just so you know. So anyway, get over to Flyte Tyme. Up to New York, Perspective Records. We went to Perspective Records in New York. Right. And he takes in the tape. We meet Terry in his office, and it's amazing. However, and the conversation is fine. I'm calm. Everything's going great. He takes the tape and he pops it in to play it. That's when it starts to play. And soon as I hear my voice, I'm literally trying to decide if I'm going to throw up from nervousness, pee my pants. And I'm like, so I walk out of the meeting while the producer and him are still listening to it. I just get up and, kind of excuse myself like I'm going to the bathroom, but the music is so loud in his office because he's listening to it. And I'm like, he didn't hear me say, excuse me or anything. I just got up and walked out. So then I hear myself stop singing and I'm like, okay, I'll go back in there. So I go back in and he goes, did you just walk out of my meeting? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, don't ever walk out of my meetings. Don't ever walk out of my meetings. And it's funny because I don't think he understood at that time because I'm working with this producer and then I got a song that's placed, that's placed on the artist. I don't think he understood that I had never sung. I had never wrote a song. I'd never been in a position where I've been in an executive meeting. I've never done any of that. So my nervousness had took completely over. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up, I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna pee, I'm gonna pass out. Everything's gonna happen. And it's gonna mess up the meeting. I better do that out in the hallway. So that was my first time meeting Terry Lewis. And as for Jam, when I first met him, it was all photos. Hey, how you doing? There was nobody in the studio. We walked in, we took a photo. Then he said, well, go look around, have a good time. And, and we talked but Jam is way laid back. Terry is the one, he's just hilarious and very, he's the one that talks to everybody and gets them going and the hype squad. And that is definitely Terry. Okay, Jimmy is very laid back.
Right, we got that from when we spoke to him when we did the interview. Very laid back, really cool guy.
Yeah.
But we've always got this impression about Jimmy is that he's such a easy outgoing type of person, very sociable, full of laughs. But then you tell me that Terry's that type of person too. And we're like,
yeah,
but that is great.
Yeah. So Raja, what's your story?
So my story is I met Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis in an apartment, my manager's apartment in the Valley. It was like 105 degrees, and they came to the apartment so that I can audition for them. And I sung Dr. Feelgood, right? And so, but I started the key too high. So when I got up to the higher parts, I had no place to go. And I was like, dead stopped the song and said, I don't want to sing that song. I want to sing something else. And they just looked at me, looked at each other. I was like, I'm going to sing something else. And they said, go ahead. So I sung Who's Loving You. So when I got to like part, you know, when Michael Jackson hits that EM part, they looked at each other and did their little Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis thing, that thing. And I was like, yeah.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. They did that thing. So I was like, I knew I was good after that. So that in the Valley, hot.
Sweet, sweet. All right, Wayne, I believe is your question.
Right. So this one is actually for Raja. The song "Turn It Up," which we all know that is a monster hit, still kicking to this very day.
True.
How did you get to introduce the West Indian dialect in the song? How did you utilize that? Where did that come from?
So I have to give credit where credit is due. Shabba Ranks. House Call, Shabba Ranks and Maxie Priest. I was living with one of my friends in California, and her husband was West Indian. So every Saturday we would clean the house, cook, and listen to Shabba Ranks. So I kind of like fell in love with Shabba Ranks. I was like, he's dope. And then Maxie Priest came along, and I was like, what if I could be Shabba Ranks and Maxie Priest?
Yeah.
That, honest to God, that's how it started. So I started like really like listening to reggae dance hall, a lot of dance hall, mostly Shabba, because I was just crazy about him. So I started to pick up the accent. So what I did was, so that I could be as authentic as possible and true to the culture, because I didn't want to do anything to make them angry at me, I actually hired a Jamaican dialect coach.
Okay.
And and then later on I became real cool with Shabba. You know, me and his manager became friends, and I was just like around them all the time. So it was kind of like easy for me to pick it up and understand it.
Nice.
So when I went to Jimmy and Terry, I went to them with that, and that's what they liked because it was different.
Nice.
Okay, well that song was very different.
Very much.
Something which a lot of people wouldn't associate from Jimmy and Terry's repertoire of what they do, you know, as well as when they came out with Slow and Sexy with Shabba and Johnny Gill.
Exactly.
I didn't even know that was by Jimmy and Terry until way down when I really looked at the credits, because, you know, being from the West Indies here, when we hear Shabba Ranks, we usually affiliate him with the top reggae producers. So when we've heard Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, especially with Johnny Gill, that song just
that was an insane record. That was insane. And the funny thing about Turn It Up, I wanted another song. I think I wanted Quick. And so Jimmy called me and he said, so we picked the single. I said, you did? I'm all excited because I'm thinking it's something different. And he said, it's Turn It Up. I said, it is. And he said, yeah. When I hung up the phone, I started crying. I was like, nobody's going to like that record.
And then what?
And lo and behold, I need to just stay in my lane because the man knows what he's talking about and what he's doing. So after that, I said nothing about nothing. Whatever you like, you know, whatever.
Right. And not only that, Raja, that also appeared on the soundtrack to A Low Down Dirty Shame.
Shame, yeah.
Amazing. And it took off from there, honestly. That's where it took off. And then they tied it. Perspective was really good at marketing. They tied it to Barry White's Practice What You Preach. So every time you saw his video, you'd see mine. So they really did some great work with that song. It's like my favorite. And it put me on the map. So I'm very grateful to Jimmy and Terry. I'll be grateful ever.
Yes, indeed.
Wow. Okay. I have a question here from both of y'all, and this is from a lady called Tracy Powers. Okay, so I'm gonna start with Ness first. What 3 artists would you like to sing with that might surprise your followers? And that being, hang on, art is and can be transformative. So give 3 ways your gift of art has transformed your life? That's the second question. Okay. So we start with the first one. You have 3 artists that you would like to sing with that might surprise your followers. So go ahead, Ness.
Go on.
If I sing, it'll definitely surprise my followers.
That's one.
But I definitely want to sing with Raja, believe it or not. And she's excited about it, probably more so than I am. But the fact that we've known each other so long that we've never really sung together intentionally. Yeah. Like right. I'm literally on the backgrounds of her song, and I'm like, okay, now I'm at the point now where I've been doing it long enough where she says, hey, we should do a song together. Okay, I can confidently do it. I think another artist that I would love to sing with, I would love to sing with Drake, believe it or not. Me and his tone kind of match really well. So when we're on TV, when he's on TV or on the radio and I sing with him, I was like, man, I would love to do a song with him. That would be awesome. And I think another artist that I would love to do a song with, believe it or not, is Stokely.
Stokely, yeah.
Yeah, he has.
We're very much looking forward to his new album coming out.
Yes, me too. I would love to do a song with him. He Pretty Brown Eyes is one of my favorites. And I'm like, oh man, I would love to do a song with him. So yeah, those would be kind of like my 3, which seems like a very weird, odd.
No,
not at all.
That's good. What about you, Raj? Who are your 3?
This is real easy for me. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. I am an R&B artist, so R&B singers. Joe first. Glenn Jones and Charlie Wilson.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some
serious heavy
mega hit powerhouses there.
Yeah, they're bad. All 3 of them are bad, and I love them, and I think we could like really do something special.
Wow. Okay, so now that brings us to the second one, whereas I said art is and can be transformative. So give 3 ways your gift of art has transformed your life. So you go ahead, Raja.
Man, I mean, my life has been transformed. I mean, I've been singing honestly since I was 3 years old, a shorty. So music has been an outlet for me. I mean, when I'm sad, when I'm depressed, I can put on some Al Green or some Sly and the Family Stone, whatever I'm feeling. I can even go with some Jimi Hendrix. It just depends on what day you catch. So it has made my life better in so many, many ways. And I'm grateful for that I have, and to be able to share them with other people and even help other people in the industry. Yeah. I saw that unstable, so I was like, let me pause for a second. Your turn.
Yes, what about you?
Music for me, although it came later in life, I didn't start music until in my 20s, but it was a game changer for me. It was, and it helped to instill confidence in what I wanted to be. You know, I was kind of not sure where I wanted to go in a certain part of life, and I kind of literally, like I said, fell into it, and turned out to be that's what I needed all the while, because I was good at it very early on, and I was blessed to be with the best when I was good at it. So I think outside of also finding a career, I do write a lot. I've always written since I was a little girl, and it gave purpose to everything that I used to write, because I never knew that all of the poetry that I used to write could be music and could be songs. It just, to me, it was just words on paper that I needed to express. So it provided me with a career. It provided me with a way to express myself, and to also just give purpose to my life, and my words, and to be able to share it with my family, because I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and it's awesome to be able to kind of pass that down to them as well, and have a legacy for them to look back on. It's awesome.
Good stuff. Thank you. Very nice.
No, before going any further, we had an earlier question about working with the artists former artists like Johnny Gill, we mentioned Stokely, you mentioned Joe, have, now this is a little bit of a wobbler, and I have been asked to ask this question. Miss Vanessa Ness, Michael Jackson. One, Michael Jackson, bring it on.
Who asked that question?
Now what's this Michael Jackson story? I've been hearing through the grapevine, there's a Michael Jackson story. Go for it, Ness.
I know who did that.
Who did that?
So when the first time at Flyte Tyme, it was already a whirlwind, but I happened to be there for a couple of days, and I think Michael Jackson was up there. He was up there to start or he had already started doing Scream. So he's doing Scream with Janet Jackson during the time that I was up there, and I happened to be. I didn't know he was there at all. I was there, you know, and I was sitting at the table with New Edition, and we were playing poker. And at one point, I went and played pool with Johnny Gill, and Donnie Simpson came down to play pool, and he beat me so bad that they kicked me off the tables. And I went upstairs, I played poker with New Edition. And while I'm playing poker, mind you, I don't have the poker money. I was brand new. So they allowed me to play with $5 and $10 a hand to their 100 and 200 per hand. Anyway, we're sitting there playing poker, and someone comes out, and he goes, "Hey, how y'all going? How y'all doing?" And I look up, and standing right next to me is Michael Jackson.
Oh,
and his bodyguard is behind him, like literally right next to me. And I just looked up, and I'm like, so I'm looking at New Edition, and in my head, I'm like, do y'all know that that's Michael Jackson? Of course they know. They're like, "Hey, Mike, how you doing?" I'm like, "No, y'all don't understand. It is Michael Jackson." And I was like, so on the outside, I'm like, "Hi, we're good. Thank you. It's so great to meet you finally." But on the inside, I passed out like 20 times. I then literally hit the floor. I'm screaming. I'm literally like, on the inside. But on the outside, I'm like, "Yes, of course, I'm at Flyte Tyme, and that's just enjoying Flyte Tyme." And Michael Jackson walked out with one person behind him. And I'm literally like, in my head, I then already reached out and touched him like 12 times. I'm like, he's standing right there. So that's my Michael Jackson story. I'm like, I can't believe that I met Michael Jackson. And I think that's when I knew that Flyte Tyme was bigger than what you can ever imagine it to be. Because it just looked like from the outside, it just looks like a warehouse. It looks like absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But when you open that door, the Grammys and everything start to hit you along the wall. The studios are awesome. And the doorbell wasn't working when I first arrived there. Donnie Simpson opened the door for me. It's huge. It's like he opens
what a way to present yourself.
And I'm like, he opens the door, he says, "Hi." And I'm like, "Do you have any idea who you are?"
Boy.
"I'm Donnie. Who are you?" Nobody.
So Donnie Simpson, boy, you know. I mean, those were the days when BET was BET. I mean, BET nowadays, it can't compare to how it was back then.
Not when Donnie Simpson was there. No.
Oh yeah, no, it was already off. It wasn't off by then. Was Donnie Simpson still on the on TV when he came up to Flyte Tyme?
I'm not
sure.
sure.
It was because he did some interviews there.
Yeah, as well. He did with Stoke with Mint Condition. He did some interviews with Mint Condition, I think.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to keep you on the spot, Ness, because a question from our third member, Doug, Mr. Fresh, who apologizes for not being able to join us today.
It's all right.
But we told him that we will gladly take over for him. So this is his question for you. And he said, tell us about the story on the tabletop.
Ooh, here we go now. Here we
go. Getting hammered.
Something about this here. He said, make sure we ask you this. So please do tell us about it.
I'm so getting hammered. Okay. This was pre-music, pre-Raja, pre-everything. My whole music career started within 6 months to a year. That's the whole beginning. The reason why I say I'm an accidental artist is because I saw flyers for a party up in Pennsylvania. At the time, I was living in Staten Island and between Staten Island and Jersey. And I said, let's go to a party up in Pennsylvania. I was like, the Force of D is going to be there. And I love them because I used to go and watch the concerts. They would always pair with New Edition. So whenever you go to a concert, you would see both of them, Force and D's, New Edition. So I said, let's go. I love those guys. Let's go up there and see them. I'm thinking it's going to be like an arena or something, you know, and it wasn't. It was a house and this huge garage. And inside the garage, they had these tables, folding tables all set up with equipment up there, like mics and everything. And I'm like, he's standing on tables? And I was like, is that the Force of These? That is them. And the people are just standing outside. It wasn't that many people in there. And Stevie D is on stage doing his thing and he rapping and everything. And I was like, I don't care if they're standing on tables. I'm such a big fan. I'm like, I love them. I don't care. They can stand on mud. They are awesome to me. So we're standing in front, me and two other friends. And Stevie D is like, hey, does anybody rap out there? He's trying to get people to come in. No one's coming in. No, barely anybody. And so they were like, my girl rap. And they throw me on the stage. And I'm laid out on the table. And he stands me up. And he's like, so you rap? I was like, no, not really. I just do silo stuff at home. I don't do, you know. And he goes, yeah, I'm about to you right now. And now he's chewing me out on these tables. And I'm like, okay, that just went too far. I'm gonna have to take you down, Stevie D. So he gives me the mic and I start rapping and all these people flood in. And when they flood in, he looks at me, he goes, yeah, you're this. But I'm nervous because I'd never done this before. And I was like, okay, that's enough for me. And I roll back off the tables and get off. So he gets my phone number and everything. And at some point, within probably like 4 weeks out, maybe like a month out, I happen to be in Staten Island and he calls me. He says, hey, you remember me? I said, oh yeah. I said, oh my God, thank you so much for the table thing. It was wonderful. And he goes, can you come down to Manhattan? I said, sure, what do you guys need? I'm thinking I'm gonna help with something simple like maybe bring food or something like that. And they were like, we want you to get on our album that we're working on. And I was like, wait, what? No. He's like, yep, meet me there. I'll see you there such and such time. And he comes up and I go, oh my God, I can't disappoint Stevie D and the Force of D's. I gotta go. And when I went, I wrote and got on, I was on quite a few songs. They were working on an album that got tied up in Hush Productions and their thing when it shut down and stuff. So it was, but that's literally where the table thing came from. I told y'all it wasn't that bad. I wasn't doing anything crazy on the tables that, you know, didn't have no pole on it or nothing. It was a regular table.
I think I'm disappointed.
Oh.
You, Paul.
So literally, that was the launch of your career when you think about it.
That was literally the launch of the whole career. I went there, started with them, and probably within about 5 or 6 months, I wrote Raja's song. From table to Flyte Tyme.
Wow.
That is so amazing.
That is.
Definitely.
Speaking of which, now, Mr. Fresh now has another question which ties into that last sentence. Now, for each of you, name the most memorable time working with Jimmy and Terry.
Go ahead, Raja.
Man, it's so many. Turn it up. So I never stepped into the booth, the vocal booth at all. I stood right next to him at the console with a mic, and we sat there and we wrote it, and I did all the singing right there. And so when we got to the rap part, he was laughing so hard. He was like, you are crazy. Because I was just like making up all this crazy stuff. And I was like, to the pimps and the hoes. And he was like, he was just cracking up. It was really cool. It was cool. We really had a lot of fun. So then after we finished recording it, Terry came in and he listened to it. He was like, yeah, I don't like that part. He didn't like the And I was like, are we in trouble, Jimmy? but he let it fly. So it was really cool. That was cool working on Turn It Up with them. And then we brought in like some of the other people from Flyte Tyme that was working at Flyte Tyme to do the, hey, here we go, all that stuff. So it was cool.
How many takes did that song do? Did it do a lot of takes?
Not really, but there was this one part, it was a harmony part, because Jimmy, you know, I mean, he's a keyboard player. So keyboard players hear things that me as a singer, I don't hear everything, like all those chords. And so he played this one note and we got stuck. I don't know, about 15 minutes. I looked at him and I said, I don't hear that. He was like, what is, you can't hear? I was like, I can't hear that. I was like, how about this note? And I just gave him another note. He was like, yeah, we'll just go with that one. It was so funny because we was ready to keep moving. We got stuck. I was like, sorry. It was good though, it was fun.
And you, Ness, what's your most memorable moment with Jimmy and Terry?
I won't say a working moment, but I will say my favorite moment was at one point he had a lot of his groups at Flyte Tyme at one time, and I'm not exactly sure what they were recording for, but Flyte Tyme Studios had a huge recording area where bands can play, and all of the bands, you had all of the musicians in there at one time, and it was just a conglomerate of some of the best musicians in the country. You know, literally, and when they work together, you're watching artists that can just pick up. If you play one key over there, you'll see 5, 6 people pick up anything from anywhere, and they just play. They don't think about it. It's nothing that they have to figure out. It's almost like they're all attached musically, where they just know where they are, and they've worked together for so long. And it was just a huge room full of them, and you just watching everyone just move about. And it's nothing but music. No one's a celebrity. No one has money. No one has a big name. Everyone is about that music. And I think that was one of the pivotal moments in having a moment at Flyte Tyme where I knew that I was amongst just greatness. It was just amazing to see. They were just absolutely genius musicians. I mean, I cried so much up there because every time I watch anybody play, I don't care if it's a horrible person, but they can play well. I'm like, oh, wow, that just brings it. You could just feel it. The energy is just different. And it was my favorite time ever of watching Ann Nesby and all of them just start to hit notes. And again, you know, RIP to Big Jim, he was there. And every time he touched, he just hover his hands over you just already know that the heaven's gonna open up and something amazing is just gonna fall out on top of him, and he's just gonna be yeah. Oh my gosh.
Do you all remember the song I'm Still Wearing Your Name by Ann Nesby?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so we were at Terry's house. It was like after his birthday party. We were all there, and the song hadn't been released yet. And Big Jim sat at the piano, and we all came into Terry's great room, and Ann sang that song, and I was just like, oh my God, that song was insane. It just moved the whole room. I mean, the two of them together, Ann and Big Jim, amazing, insane.
You know, I get that impression about Big Jim, and based on, you know, watching like some old YouTube videos when he was performing, and even some of the song credits. I mean, I knew he did like sometimes mostly non-secular music, but then when I see him doing tracks for Mariah Carey and other artists and everything, I say, whoa, he did that? I could not believe it, you know? And, you know, it's such a tragic loss, you know, big loss.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Such an early age, you know, and, you know, we, like, for us now, we're anticipating the Jam and Lewis Volume 1 collection. So I think, you know, there's some great music in store there with great musicians, and obviously we know Big Jim is going to be part of that, and we can't really wait to hear when that's coming out. We keep asking Terry, when is it coming? When is it coming? So he keeps saying, you know, it's the finishing touches, but it's coming. So hopefully very, very soon. Yes. You guys have any insights on that album?
No. I don't.
I don't either. And if I did, I wouldn't say anything.
I already told y'all how Terry
treated secrets, man. Flyte Tyme secrets.
Right.
Y'all already know how Terry treated me when I walked out that meeting. I'll be darned if I'm gonna sit up there and blow the secrets. That.
We have here a question, again, it's for both of y'all, and this is from Mr. Fresh again. And he said, what inspired you to write the lyrics for Who's Been Giving It Up? Or was it just a collaboration between the both of you?
I had nothing to do with it. I just sang it. So that's on you.
Right.
Yeah, I had one of them relationships one time. Yeah. It's all true story. And honestly,
I can relate to it though. I can relate.
Well,
we kind
so the other part that Doug asked about this very same question was he wants to hear the original version of Who's Been Giving It Up with the new rapping on it.
I'm gonna make sure that I get it to you guys, and you all can actually play it. Can I give permission for him to play? Yeah, I give permission for him to play it.
Oh, you can't wait.
Looking forward to that.
Can't wait.
Okay, can I tell y'all this? So
Disclaimer, I hear disclaimer coming. I hear it.
no, you don't. I didn't know that it was a rap on the song. How about I didn't remember that I rapped on the song because it was released without the rap on the song.
Right.
So I was like, she kept saying, Vanessa, it's a rap on there. I said, no. And she's like, yes, it is. She said, I got it here somewhere. I'm going to find it. Sure enough, she found it. I don't know how she archived stuff, but she found this thing. And I said, it is one on there. And she said, I'm going to submit it to the dynamic duo. I was like, nah.
We're waiting on that copy.
You got it coming.
It on our next
got it
show.
coming.
Yeah, she gonna send it because I mean nothing.
Definitely.
No, I love you, but they have to. I want people to know that you're just not a songwriter. I mean, you're multi. So I want people to know who my Ness is. That's why.
And you have my full blessings. You can share it only because
So that's it, guys. You're gonna hear that next week on the Dynamic Duo Show, the Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis collection on UK 246. You will hear that song.
Oh, no.
Definitely.
Yes.
Carry on, Paul. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I believe we got a two-part question from Benny. And Benny is asking, will Raja ever do raga hop music again? It's a two-part question. And the second part is for both of you. Will Ness and Raja do any new music together? No, I think, yeah, I'll leave it at that. First one, will you do any other raga hop music again, Raja?
Well, actually, on the new CD, I did have one song on there because my fans should know that I still have it in me. If I wanted to like flip and do some patois, I could still do it. So, but I don't know if it's gonna be like a whole, I'm an R&B singer. That's what I really am. So I'm gonna stick to soul music and R&B. I'm gonna stick to what I do best.
Okay. And what about both of you collaborating in the future?
Yes, we got so much stuff up our sleeves. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ness.
You gotta say yes then. What
Yeah,
if you,
everything that she said, and she's been sending me. I'm already writing, so we're already writing. And what else are we doing, Raja? Writing a lot. She's been sending me tracks daily, almost.
We have we're gonna do like a YouTube show called Raja-Nee, and we're gonna travel on the road and go different places and give our take on certain places that we go to visit. And then I am going to be behind the scenes producing a show for Vanessa called Cake and Convo, where we will be interviewing celebrities and you know, instead of getting the regular questions, we want so how many girls were you with? Where'd you go? You know, that kind of thing. We're gonna we're gonna get deep with the questions.
right, okay.
Those people are not gonna talk to me.
Looking forward to that for sure.
So when you say celebrities, you have a general idea of who you're looking at talking to?
Yeah, so I'm because most of my friends are old school artists. The first person that I want to interview is I call him my brother. He's my mentor, Mr. Marshall Thompson from the Shy Lights. I spoke to him already, so we've been talking a little bit about it. And of course, you know, they're getting ready to get their star on Hollywood Walk of Fame. And I'm going on tour with them next year. I'll be the Shy-Lights opening act. So I think he should be first, since he's giving me the opportunity to go out with him first.
Right. Wow. Well, that's great that they're getting inducted. I think that is long overdue for them. You know, and the fact that you're going to be opening act for them, that's major. That's big. So congrats, Raja.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. I love the Shy-Lights. I mean, that's where my tutelage comes from. He took me on tour with them. I was young. I traveled all over the world with them. He taught me about stage presence and shows. So I'm grateful to go back to from whence I came.
Yeah, ain't nothing like the old school.
That's it. That's it.
I have a question for you, Raja. In terms of your upcoming project, do you have like a timeline of when you think it will be out?
You know what's coming.
Why are you laughing, J4?
No, because I suspect a secret.
J4?
You're not going to say it.
Why are you laughing, J4?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Say what you're going to say and then I'll answer. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Keep things close to your chest. That's what I think. You're going to keep things very close to your chest.
I do. So, yeah, I don't know. There are 3 singles. So Moontown, okay, I'm going to spill a little bit of the beans. I hope Herb does not get me. So we're in the process of working on a cartoon. And I'm in the cartoon. So we're doing a compilation CD for Moontown Records. So I have 2 songs on the compilation CD, I think, 1 for certain. And then I'm working on a single that should be released maybe like mid-October. It's called Come Get This Love. And in the next 2 weeks, we'll be shooting the video right here in Chicago with the other 2 artists. The Saint is the producer of the song, and then Wilfred Felix, he's a guitar player, ninja. So we'll be shooting that video soon, and of course, you'll have it first.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Wow, we can't wait for that.
Sure.
Wow, thank you so much.
The cartoon coming up. Any idea of the name of the cartoon show, or that's under wraps still?
I cannot tell any of that. You're going to get me in trouble.
Bad boy, J4. Bad boy.
I'll just tell you that I'm playing a neurotic, crazy assistant. I'll just tell you that.
All right. Okay.
He's being herself.
That's it. That's it. No, it's true. You know, like, so I'm claustrophobic. I don't like elevators. So they're really like building on that character. Like, it's like you to work, I run the stairs. It's on the 20th floor. So every time you hear me, I'm like, you know, breathing hard because I'm tired because I've run the stairs. So that's my character. That's what it's based on.
Okay. Wow.
Me.
That sounds really interesting. I'm looking forward to this. I am.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
Me too.
I know you are.
All right, moving on. This is from all of us here, from the Dynamic Duo, and this is for both you all. What's the best advice that Jimmy and Terry gave you both about the business? Dun, 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 dun,
Exactly.
dun, dun.
You like that? Yeah.
So I can't really say that they gave me any advice in particular, but being in the company of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, if you have your ears open, you will always get a nugget. You know what I'm saying? So nothing in particular, just always listening and always learning, because they were always teaching. You know, I mean, just even in general conversation, they were always teaching. I mean, I remember one time we went to the Timberwolves game and I was sitting in between them. Terry was on my left and Jimmy was on my right. And they, you know, they're just always talking and they're always thinking and they're always like ahead of the game. So being able to sit there was like pretty freaking amazing. You know what I'm saying? Just to know that, okay, you're sitting with like the best there is. I mean, it don't get no better than Jam and Lewis. I'm sorry. I mean, there's some great producers out there, but me personally, I have so much admiration and respect for them. And to be able to be in that circle, nobody could ever take that away from me. ever.
And I think in my case, they do they lead by example. It's not about so much them telling you anything, but they tell you as they go. They go, hey, okay, we got this song. What is your percent? What is your company? They start to ask you, what are these parts that you need to have done so that they can do business with you? And at the same time, while they're doing these songs, like you might be working on something, but as soon as they walk in the room, if you're stuck anywhere, they go, we need this. You'll start to see people just move in. And I mean, oh my gosh, they definitely lead by examples. Just like Raja said, it's not about them saying, hey, do this. It's not the standard teacher student type of thing. It's you are watching them move with such greatness and with such knowledge and expertise in what they do, that you kind of follow suit. And literally, and even in my case, they took someone that was just starting, and probably within the first year, I was better than people who have been doing it all of their lives, because of who I was surrounded with and the opportunity to work with them on that level. So when it came to anything that you needed to know, if you asked the question, they were going to tell you. They were open and honest about it. Every little bit of it. and it was great to actually be able to have such information at the, right at the palm of your hand, because they had no problem telling you. They'll tell you. But, they didn't just walk around saying, hey, you need to learn this. They just would be doing it. And you'd be like, okay, if this is what I really want to do, I'm going to do that too. And they don't stop you from following them. They never ever stopped us from being in the studio. Vanessa and I were talking about that. So when we would be at the apartment, we would get up early, get in the studio early, and would leave out like the next. I mean, that happened almost every day. Yeah. They never said you can't come in here, somebody's using it. They gave us free reign to the studios that we used. They had their studios that they worked in predominantly. None of the artists had any issues with access to studios. I mean, they were just so open and so giving. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just it never ceased to amaze me how kind-hearted and how giving they were. Very kind-hearted. Absolutely.
Wow.
Nice. Very nice. Nice. I can only imagine, because I get the impression, and reading the reviews about them, it's like you watch them in admiration and you pick up as you go along. And that's exactly what both of you said. And that's the impression. The impressions that I had was only verified by what you guys just said, for sure.
Yeah. True. It's very true.
Yep. And they don't dumb it down for you either. They will not. They don't dumb it down. They come in the door with greatness and hope that you pick it up. If you do not, just sit over there until you can pick it up. But they come in the door.
Yeah, I mean, I remember one time I was in LA and I was driving home, and James Brown came on. I think it's Papa Don't Take No Mess, if I'm not mistaken. And so I'm riding in the car and I'm hearing Papa Don't Take No Mess, and I'm like, turn it up at a dope groove. Turn it up. I was like, oh man. I called Jimmy up real quick. I said, yo, Jimmy. I said, I'm in my car and I'm listening to Papa Don't Take No Mess. I said, can you turn it up on top of that, like as a remix? And he was like, yeah. Thing took off. I was like, I mean, he did it right away. And I mean, the thing was crazy. I was like, boy, this man here, I'm telling you, that's why I was like, she don't say nothing. Whatever that other man say, that's what it is. Whatever, that's what it is.
And just like that, magic is made, right?
Yep, that's right.
And it was just a phone call. I said, hey, I'm listening to Papa Don't Take No Mess, and it flows with Turn It Up. Can you put those two together? And he did.
Just like that.
Just like that.
No, I got a question here, actually a live question from one of our fans in the group, and it's from Andrew Nicola, and this is for Ness. Now, Ness, could you tell us a little more about your new edition experience at Flyte Tyme?
Okay, so to understand how I even felt, I had 3 main groups that I followed as a kid: the Jacksons, New Edition, and the Force MDs. They were just it for me. I've been to so many New Edition concerts, it's unreal. So to get to the point where it was the same time as Donnie Simpson, when he opened the door, New Edition happened to be there during that time. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is just unreal. This can't be right. There's something wrong here. I should not be here by any, you know, should not be here. But when I had the opportunity to meet New Edition, they just are just a great group of guys. They're gifted, they're very talented, but they're regular people who also looked at Michael Jackson was like, but the second time they had already met him. They was like, hey, Mike, how you doing? But afterwards, they was like, when Mike left, y'all remember when we met him? It was, so, but they're talented. They've been in the business all of their lives. And so for me meeting New Edition, it was just amazing for me. I mean, I've had more New Edition tickets than you can imagine. Wherever they went, I followed. If they did a free show, if they did a page, I was there at all of them. So to sit next to them and because and then because Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis did "Can You Stand the Rain?" Come on, come on! It was like it's full circle. So I was like, this is like, oh my gosh, you have no idea. I swear I could probably just look at everybody. I probably cried the whole first 2 weeks after Flyte Tyme. Oh God, I can't believe it. You know, I'm pinching myself every day. It's just really happening. And then, you know, you have to follow it up because at this point I had just worked with Raja-Nee and I'm like, I gotta get up there. And they was like, okay, now we got Johnny Gill. I was like, oh my gosh, is this real? All right, I came out. So while we doing the Johnny Gill, I came out because Johnny Gill was there at the same time. Come out to take a break at the kitchen table. They had the kitchen, right? You know, remember, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there to take a break, to take a breather, because I'm like, this is unreal. And who's at the table, New Edition, playing poker? And I'm like, I can't sit at the table. Donnie and Johnny is down at the pool table whipping me in pool. Where can I go? And they were like, you wanna play poker? I was like, I really don't have no poker money yet. Yet. And they were like, come on, sit down. We'll let you play at $5 a hand. I'm watching them pull out bills. I'm like, I'm gonna get there with this $5. Somewhere along the line, I'm taking all New Edition money at this table. Yeah, let's go.
How much did you win? That's the question now.
I didn't win anything. I had better luck dancing on the table, doing the rap thing at the table, and getting into Flyte Tyme. That was the biggest win I could get. I was not winning any money playing poker. So that was my.
Johnny Gill was a pool shark. He was a pool shark. I remember I was down there shooting by myself, and he came down there, and I said, "You want to play?" Not asking him if he wanted to play me. He was like, "I don't want to play you. You ain't no competition."
Let's say that.
I didn't want to play with you either. I just was gonna let you have a tape.
Look, I almost beat Donnie Simpson. I didn't play pool either, but I almost beat him, and he thought that I really played. He left, got up, went outside, got his pool stick with his name on it. I said, wait a minute, I mean, he beat me like I broke into a bank. I said, okay, Donnie, come on, you ain't had to do me dirty like that. I'm new to Flyte Tyme, you just gonna take a sister out. He did me terrible. I love him still though, love him still.
Beagle?
It sounds like you guys really had lots of fun at Flyte Tyme.
Yo, you don't know that.
It was crazy.
Thank you enough. We can't thank you guys enough for coming in and sitting down and talking to us about it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure we could do a part 2 at some point.
Oh.
Definitely.
Definitely. Well,
so unfortunately, we have now come to the end of our Flyte Tyme interview with Raja-Nee and Vanesa Powers. And ladies, thank you again so much.
Our pleasure.
And we really hope that we can have you back on.
Absolutely.
Right? Especially when you're coming out with your new projects.
Yes. Whenever that will be. Whenever that will be. You know.
Right.
He's talking to you, Ness. He's not talking to me. He's talking
to me because I'm working with you. You ain't talking to me.
No, the pleasure is all ours. You know, we had some fun. And just want to let you know, the group know that, you know, this has been a friendship in the background going on for like close to 3 years now. And we're grateful, and you know, it can only get bigger and better from here on in. So thank
Absolutely.
you very much,
Very
both
much.
of you, Raja-Nee and Vanesa Powers. And yeah, you really made our day, and we're really looking forward to this one, because having not only one from the pre, well, actually we have Spencer Bernard and Lisa Keith, but you guys, your guy just made it fun, special, and it says a lot, a testimony to you guys as friends and not only artists. So we're very grateful for that.
Thank you
Thank you so much.
so much.
So just remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, hashtag Flytetyme Interviews. And obviously we were going to have some more interviews in the upcoming months. We have a lot of people that we're speaking to. We just hope you guys have really enjoyed this. Again, thank you to our guests, Raja-Nee and Vanesa Powers. And on behalf of the dynamic duo, we want to say peace.
Yes.
Peace.